I started to wonder if I'm being too easy on myself. Because yesterday I yelled at my son, and he was out of alignment, and I went out of alignment, and there was a moment of regret, and then there was the knowledge that I don't desire that vibration. I got back into a good vibration, but I've started to wonder if I'm going to continue to experience these things, which is what is in my awareness at the moment. I'm continuing to do things that I didn't want to do before I did them, and then I quickly relax after I've done it. I don't beat up on myself, but I'm left wondering, why did I do that again?
All right, this is a good conversation. Let's frame this up with the question, am I going far enough in what I've been doing? Am I going far enough, or is there more that I could do? And the answer to the question is there's more that you could do. You could take time to calibrate. You get the sense of calibration, yes? It's pretty straightforward. Let's say this hasn't happened, but let's say that Esther is driving in an automobile with a friend, and her friend is drunk. And as they get on the road, Esther realizes that her friend is drunk and that he is not safe. This is not the time to take the book out and calibrate. This is the time to get out of the car. Or this is the time to say, hey, pull over, I'd like to drive. We for sure want to say to you that depending on where you are in your situation, if you're not in perfect alignment with what you want, or if you are attracting something that you do want, which is an experience that has resistance in it because you want to expand and add to eternity. In other words, resistance is not a bad thing, and negative things are not a bad thing. It's all part of the equation of creating more of what is wanted, yes? So if you yell at your child and get some results because you've manipulated the situation, and your child responds to that because it's sort of the way the world goes round, and then you feel a little regret, and then you talk yourself out of feeling the regret, you may not have actually shifted anything. In other words, you may have just responded to a situation. We want to take this to an extreme. You'll feel why here as we explain this. Imagine being so responsive to situations, because if it's something good that you're looking at, you feel good. If it's something not good you're looking at, you don't feel good, but you have no control. You feel like a cork bobbing on the raging ocean. So you don't want to be a conditional calibrator. You want to be a deliberate calibrator. We call that getting out ahead of it. You want to calibrate to who you really are before you walk into a situation. So let's find an example that's a little bit apart from this. Let's say that you've just been moving through your day. You've been busy. You haven't meditated. You didn't deliberately segment intend. You didn't deliberately tune yourself to anything, but you're feeling pretty good. And you walk into a room, and as soon as you walk in, maybe it's at work or high school, you walk in and the conversation stops, and you can tell that they've been talking about something they don't want you to hear. So you kind of have the feeling of that, and there's not anything that you can do about it. You just noticed it and you didn't like it. On the other hand, let's say that you awakened, you acknowledged how much you are appreciating your life, you made some lists of positive aspects, you meditated and allowed your vibration to rise, and now you're calibrated to who you really are. So you're tuned at a frequency different than the people in that room. So when you walk into that room, even though that's where they are, you don't notice it because you're not tuned there. So whatever they got going on, but doesn't have anything to do with you. And you say, hey, you're not calibrated there, so you are not part of that. Following? So the process of calibrating to who you really are, we've been saying for a while, you want to get out ahead of it. So some years ago, we offered a process called segment intending, where you realize it's a new segment because a new person walks in the room, or you walk into a new room, or you get in your car and go somewhere. Enough has changed that you identify it as a new segment. And then we encouraged you to be clear about what you want to experience in this segment intending. Now we are saying to you that as you are aware that you are going to walk into a new segment, and you're constantly going to be walking into a new segment, do your best before you walk into the new segment to get out ahead of it by calibrating to who you really are, so that who walks into that segment is someone who's tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and calibrated to the best of that segment. Because when you walk into a room that has a mixture of things going on, where you are is what you're going to rendezvous with. You are at all times a cooperative component to something. The question is, what are you a cooperative component to? And another really good question is, why are you a cooperative component to that? You could watch a movie or a television series and it could calibrate you to paranoia. And then you walk into a room where others are already calibrated to paranoia, and there you are, paranoid together, launching rockets of desire, but unnecessarily. So the image that comes to Esther's mind as we're talking about getting out ahead of it is, before I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to get myself in harmony with myself. I'm going to be step 4. Step 5 that you introduced into this conversation, what we just described, where you're calibrated to who you really are, and you walk into a situation that's negative and it goes right over your head. You don't even know it. Did you ever have your parent accuse you of something and you didn't even know you were being accused because it was so not something that you'd done? It was their problem, not yours. All right, so we're rambling a little bit. Let's clean this up. Esther's been envisioning taking a little time to get herself in alignment, meditative, certainly before the first segments of the day, and then be all tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and then Esther moving, she pictures herself in this sort of bubble of alignment, moving into situations where anything that doesn't match her just bounces off. It has to. And anything that does match her just flows in. Like our friend was describing the dew on something and the beauty of this. You can tell where you are as you walk through an airport by who comes up to you. For Esther, it's mostly children and dogs.